Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Redding's in-person and virtual Sunday worship service. My name is Charlene Reynolds-Santo. I'm a member of the worship arts team, and I use she, her pronouns. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are from, whatever your faith tradition, you are welcome here. You are welcome here as we gather to create an understanding, welcoming, and family-friendly community. Here we nurture and explore individual spirituality, work to build a strong, loving community, and to help heal our beautiful and broken world. If this is your first time with us, I would like to extend a special welcome to you. If you haven't already, please look at our webpage at uuredding.org for more information about UUCR. Here you can learn more about this beloved community and connect with our staff. For those here in the sanctuary this morning, please feel free to speak to any one of us involved in today's service if you have any questions after the service. Right now, I would like to invite up Celeste for an announcement from the youth.
Hi, everybody. My name's Celeste. I'm from the youth program, and we're going to City Reach again, which is really exciting. And City Reach is basically this program that helps bridge sort of like a conversation between homeless people in the Boston area and youth kids and all different types of kids from different churches. And it's really special because you get to meet really cool people. I met this person named Rachel last year who I had seen around Boston like multiple times. And then after City Reach, I like saw her again a few times and got to like say hi, and she remembered me. And so you make really cool communities that way. And it's just a very special thing to do. So please consider donating like shoes, clothing, toiletries, lotion, anything that you can donate that they'll take, because the donations are really what runs this, and it's super special. So thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. Now let's take a deep breath. And please enjoy our Sunday service.
Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Celeste. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Laura Solomon. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am the minister here at UUCR, and it is a privilege to serve this community and the world with you. I invite you to take a breath this morning. Allow yourself to arrive, bringing yourself fully into this space, into this time we have together. Our opening words come from the poet Padre Gotuma. The poem is called Narrative Theology Number 1. And I said to him, "Are there answers to all of this?" And he said, "The answer is in a story, and the story is being told." And I said, "But there is so much pain." And she answered plainly, "Pain will happen." Then I said, will I ever find meaning?" And they said, "You will find meaning where you give meaning. The answer is in the story, and the story isn't finished." Let us worship together. We light our flaming chalice this morning with Unitarian Universalists all around the globe. I invite you to call into your heart the flame you kindle this morning, the flame of truth, of commitment to love and justice. Please join me in our chalice lighting words, which can be found on the laminated sheets in the backs of your pews. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. Each week we recite our children's affirmation as a reminder of the most important elements of who we are. If there are some kids who would like to help with our children's affirmation this morning, come on up. It is good to see you all. Oh, we've got so many helpers this morning. Good morning. Come on up, my friends. Oh, everybody wants to come. We're being all summoned. Good morning, guys. There's one more kid. And she's a best friend. That's fantastic. We are Unitarian Universalists, the church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. Thank you all. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 113 in your gray hymnal, Where is Our Holy Church? If there is anyone who would like to come up for a story today, I'm going to have you make a lot of different choices. So if you want to come up and see our choices and help make the choices for our story, come on up. Good morning, Ingrid. Good morning, Hannah. Good morning, good morning. So when I was a kid, there were these books that were super popular for a while. Does anybody else remember Choose Your Own Adventure stories? Yes, totally. Do they still write those? Do you guys know what those are? you prefer other stories? Amazing, amazing. So, it's amazing. We've got so much to say, Hannah. Yes, exactly. Hannah had one that was Little Red Riding Hood, and she got to choose the adventure that Little Red Riding Hood went on. So that is awesome. So today, we are going to choose our own adventure together and see what we can learn. So, full disclosure, I had this idea of writing a Time for All Ages that was a choose your own adventure story. And then I got a little bit stuck as to how I was going to possibly have enough time and creativity to choose all the possibilities. So I wrote this story with help from ChatGPT. I have a lot of thoughts about using artificial intelligence to help with things in worship, and I'm actually quite against it. And I am very grateful for the help of this technology in helping me craft this activity where there were so many possible scenarios. So how do stories usually start? They usually start with once upon a time. And how do stories usually end? The end, absolutely. And they lived happily ever after. And what happens in the middle of stories? And then this happened. That's right, it's all different. There are lots of different choices, and every choice leads to a different outcome. So today, we are going to experiment with different kinds of choices and outcomes. Our story today is called The Adventure of Justice in the Enchanted Forest. Thank you, ChatGPT. We are going on an adventure in the Enchanted Forest, where creatures of all kinds live together. But there's a problem. Not everybody is treated fairly. In this adventure, you're going to get to make choices to help bring justice and fairness to the forest. Are you ready? So once upon a time, in a peaceful, enchanted forest, all the animals lived together happily. But lately, things weren't going so well. The birds had noticed that the squirrels weren't getting enough food, and the rabbits were too scared to go out at night because of a mean wolf who had been taking their favorite paths. One day, a wise owl named Olivia gathered the animals to talk about the problem. "We need to fix this," Olivia said. "Everyone deserves to be treated fairly and kindly. But what should we do?" So we have two choices up here. Choice one, can you open that one up, Kimberly? Says, should we call a meeting with all the animals to talk about how they can help each other? Or choice two, should we talk to the mean wolf and ask him to stop being so unfair? We have consensus. We are going to talk to the mean wolf. Okay, take off number two. So Olivia flies to the top of a tall tree where the mean wolf named Walter is resting. "Walter," she says kindly, "we need to talk. Some of the animals are afraid because of how you've been acting. Everyone deserves to feel safe and treated fairly just like you do." Walter looks at Olivia and huffs. "I only take the best food for myself because I'm the biggest and the strongest. Who's going to stop me?" Olivia thinks for a moment. "Maybe you can help us instead of taking everything. We need you to help protect the animals so they feel safe at night." Walter thinks this over. "I've never thought of it that way. Maybe I can try to be kind." So we have another choice. Go to question 2, up on the other side. What should the animals do next? Should we create a safety plan where Walter helps watch over the forest at night? Or should we ask everyone to forgive Walter and work together to share food fairly? What do you think? Forgive Walter or create a safety plan? Forgive, safety plan. Uh-oh, we have disagreement. Forgive Walter. All right, if you think that we should forgive Walter, raise your hand. If you think we should create a safety plan, raise your hand. All right. So most of the kids voted that we are going to forgive Walter. It's always 2 questions, that's right. So, I'm having trouble following my story here. So the animals decide that they are going to forgive Walter and have a conversation with him about what they should do. They ask Walter to come to a meeting, and at first everyone is unsure, but then Walter hears them and agrees and hears that they are forgiving him and says that he is going to help to keep the forest safe. He decides to use his strength to protect others instead of taking what he wants. The animals agree to work together to help share food and to protect one another, and Walter, once a mean wolf, becomes a protector of the forest, and the animals learn that even someone who has made mistakes can change and do good. So the animals all learned that justice means treating everyone with kindness, sharing, and working together to make sure that everyone is safe and happy. So our story had a beginning. It started with once upon a time, and it had an end. It had a happily ever after, and we made choices in between. If we had chosen different stories, if we had gone with number 1, for example, if we had decided to call a meeting, we might have ended up with a different outcome, right? How do we feel about the outcome that we ended up with? Did it go okay? Yeah, thumbs up for how this story ended? Okay, how this story ended? We could have made different choices. There could have been a bad outcome, but we made choices and ended up with a good outcome to our story. Our values give us an idea about where we are headed. They inform how we think about the choices we make and help us to make good decisions and know what we support. When I need to make a decision, I like to think about just making the next right choice. Have you all watched Frozen 2? Yep, thumbs up. You know that song of do the next right thing? Do the next right thing. Our values ask us to just do the next right thing. So I hope when you are faced with a choice that you remember to just do the next right thing and trust that it will lead you to where you want to be. Thank you all for listening to our story. We are going to sing our children to their classes. Nobody gets left behind. We take time during our service to light our candles of community, peace, and justice. We light our red candle of community to signify our interconnection. Wherever you are in time and space, newcomer or longtime member, here in the sanctuary or joining us virtually, we light this candle holding you in love. As we light our candle this morning, I invite you to speak aloud the name or names of people who are on your mind and heart this morning, that we might call them fully into this space. We light our blue candle of peace for all the places worldwide where people live with the threat of war and violence. and we light our yellow candle of justice. This week, we have seen wildfires tear across more than 35,000 acres of the Los Angeles area, killing at least 11 people and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee their homes. We hold those people, their families, that entire part of our country with love, with hope. We send them love and solidarity as they work to rebuild their lives. May all people everywhere live their lives in freedom. And may we each do our part in the work for justice and liberation for all in our global community. As we recommit ourselves to this work of love and justice, let us each voice our own commitment by saying amen. I invite you to join me in about a minute and a half of silence, that we might hear the stories of our own lives, that we might hear the needs of our own hearts. Amen. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like to honor through lighting a silent candle, you are invited to come forward now. As a poet and a lover of poetry, I believe deeply and firmly in the adage that we must look to the poets in challenging times. We have a selection of readings today that were written at different times and different places, yet when heard together, they seem to be in conversation with one another. And I think they speak to this question we are all faced with as we look to our country's future. What is our next right step? Charlene and I will each read one, followed by a short period of silence. Then we will hear some music from the choir, followed by another reading from me and Charlene, each followed by a short period of silence. Our theme for January is story. So I invite you to listen to these pieces and allow the story they are weaving for us to unfold.
This first poem is called What Kind of Times Are These? And was written by Adrienne Rich in 1991. There's a place between two stands of trees where the grass grows uphill, and the old revolutionary road breaks off into shadows near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I've walked there picking mushrooms at the edge of dread. But don't be fooled. This isn't a Russian poem. This is not somewhere else, but here, our country, moving closer to its own truth and dread, its own ways of making people disappear. I won't tell you where this place is, the dark mesh of the woods meeting with the unmarked strip of light, ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf mold paradise. I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, make it disappear. And I won't tell you where it is, so why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like these, I have you listen at all is necessary to talk about trees.
A member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, Joy Harjo was the first Native American poet laureate in the U.S. and the first person who served 3 terms in this role. Her poem is called The Fight. The rising sun paints the feet of night-crawling enemies, and they scatter into the burning hills. I have fought each of them. I know them by name. From before I could speak, I've used every weapon to make them retreat. Yet they return every night if I don't keep guard. They elbow through openings in faith, tear the premise of trust, and stick their shields through the doubt of smoke to challenge me. I grow tired of the heartache of every small and large war passed from generation to generation, but it is not in me to give up. I was taught to give honor to the house of warriors, which cannot exist without the house of the peacemakers.
Connie Anderson. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm the music director and pianist here at UUCR. I can still say I'm the new director because I started last March. So after March, I will become your old director. I would like to dedicate this next piece called Glow, both the choir and I. It's a beautiful piece. The music's by Eric Whitaker, and the piano accompaniment was arranged by Lisa Edwards. And it's particularly beautiful, and on Thursday night when we were rehearsing this, I thought it would be really nice to dedicate this to everyone in LA who's been affected by the fires, people who have been misplaced, the firefighters, everybody who's really stepping up and helping. A lot of my colleagues who are musicians in LA have been affected, and so many people. For those of you who are thinking about doing any kind of helping, just make sure any organization that you decide to help is vetted, because I know there's some things that are going on that aren't helpful. But we would really like to dedicate this beautiful piece to everyone in LA and everybody who helps out in times of need like this. So thank you for being here. The choir's purpose here at UUCR is to provide joy and healing, and we hope you enjoy this special anthem this morning.
Rosemary Watola Trommer is a contemporary poet from Colorado. She wrote this poem because in 2023. So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart, right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first. And if it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry, and sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear. To be ridiculously courageous in love. To open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible and opening anyway. To take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance. To feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open. To love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it.
Carrie Newcomer is a poet, singer, and songwriter. She wrote this poem in 2018, Revolution, the Day After. Revolution is not a single event. Revolution is finding true north and walking toward it, knowing that you will be walking for a very long time, and always. Because the process of arrival at the most precious destinations, because bringing in a better world will take more than your one lifetime. Revolution is traveling light, leaving what's dead weight by the side of the road, like hate, the least effective form of resistance, that by its very nature expands and gets heavier, like slow-drying cement in the chambers of the heart. Revolution is holding close all you love, all you believe in, all you hope for, everything that actually matters, because you're going to get tired and discouraged and angry and wander off course in sorrow or doubt. And you're going to need all you've gathered in, embraced and endured, because it is what you love, not what you hate, that will keep reminding you to look up, search the sky, get a lead on something improbable, shining and unstoppable, and keep walking.
So if you've known me for more than about 2 minutes, you know that I love my dog, Maisel. Maisel is a rescue dog, probably some sort of hound something or other mix. She's long and lean and has the longest legs, and she loves to run. Maisel's long legs and her aerodynamic body also make her really good at running. The number of people at the dog park who comment on the fact that she was built to run speaks to just how naturally running comes to Maisel. She would chase tennis balls for hours. But here's the thing. Maisel chases tennis balls under one condition. She will only run after the tennis balls if she is sure that she is going to win. And I don't just mean that she has to feel confident that she's going to outrun any other dog. I mean, she has to be the only dog running for the ball. As soon as another dog sees it and begins heading towards it, Maisel stops. She stands and watches that other dog chase the ball, retrieve the ball, and then she trots back to me with a look on her face that says, well, that was disappointing. I'm not a competitive person, and I am a very patient person. And something about this behavior of Maisel's frustrates me to no end. You're faster than him, I want to yell as she cedes her ball to a basset hound. Just run, try harder. But Maisel will not try harder. She will watch that basset hound slowly trot to the ball with sadness on her face as if she's thinking, man, I wish I could have gotten that. As we're approaching January 20th and the inauguration, I have realized I'm feeling a little like Maisel must feel. Like, what's even the point? Sure, we can say we were built for times like this, but that basset hound is trotting along pretty quickly, too. Talking about persistence and hope feels necessary, but I actually think that's not fully what we need right now. Maisel does not actually care when I tell her she can do it, that she just needs to keep going. Persistence and hope are great, but they can feel a little cheap, a little too cliche. And frankly, they can feel a little exhausting, too. So I've been returning to that poem we opened with by Padre Gotuma. The answer is in the story, he writes, and the story isn't finished. If Maisel could understand more English words, I wonder what might be different if she could understand that the story isn't finished, that we don't know the ending of the race to the tennis ball just because the basset hound started running. What if she could understand that there is more that is yet to be written and that she can shape the ending purely by continuing to run? A few weeks ago, 3 clergy friends and I piled into my friend's Prius and we drove down to New York City to see the play Suffs on Broadway. A play about the American women's suffrage movement, Suffs focuses on the events that led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920 that gave some women the right to vote. I don't know what I expected from this play, but I definitely didn't expect that the 4 of us would spend the last 10 minutes of the play with tears streaming down our faces. While the play has closed, I highly recommend listening to the soundtrack. And the show is going on tour in the coming months and has been filmed and will be aired on PBS. It is a brilliant piece of theater with incredible music. There was so much in this play that echoed the message, the struggle, the fight that we are facing in 2025. The fight, the despair, the motivation, the fear the women portrayed felt real and alive to me in ways that filled me with both despair and hope. So much has changed. And the play also reminds me that the story isn't finished. The play depicts women imprisoned for protesting, abused in prison, and deemed insane for daring to speak the truth. The play takes place during a time when women lost their rights when they married a man. The play shows white women leaving black women and women of color behind, telling them to wait their turn. So much has changed, and the story isn't finished. Shayna Taub, the author of the play and the lead actress, writes that she was inspired by the quote from the Talmud: "You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it." You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. The final song of Suf's, titled "Keep Marching," has been running through my head for weeks now. It says, "We did not end injustice, and neither will you. But still we made strides, so we know you can too. Make peace with our incomplete power and use it for good, 'cause there's so much to do." And really, I think that is the story of us, the story of us as Unitarian Universalists, the story of America, the story of people fighting for love and equality and justice. The story isn't so much about the wins and the losses, about the failures and the successes, about the right and the wrong. The story is about our continuing. That, more than anything, is what gives me hope in these times. That our story isn't finished. The story of love and justice isn't finished. We are still writing it. We still have the potential of writing it. We are deep in this choose-your-own-adventure novel, but we aren't at the end. Sometimes in those books, it looks like you're at the end. You're on page 150 and you come to a choice, and it sends you back to page 38. The story isn't finished. I was talking with my sibling the other day, and they reflected about how a few days after the election, they were driving to work and felt surprised to notice how beautiful the sunrise was. The story isn't finished. I'm reminded of how in 2016, it felt like an ending too. I marched in DC in the Women's March, feeling the world end and begin at the same time. We made history that day. We changed history that day, and I was changed that day. Were any of you changed that day? If not that day, can you think of a day when you were changed? A day when the world ended and a new world began? September 11th, Kennedy's assassination, the civil rights movement, the moon landing. The world is always ending and the world is always beginning, and so we continue. Shayna Taub's song continues, "Your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on." Our ancestors showed us that progress is possible. They never promised us that the work was done. And so we continue with love and with hope and with determination. Fueled by the strength of our ancestors, we keep marching because the story isn't finished. Because we refuse to let anything but love have the final word. Amen.
A simple yet powerful way for each of us to help heal the world is to become more involved in our community by learning about and supporting the good works of local charitable organizations. Every Sunday, UUCR shares half the money received in the collection plate to a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Common Cathedral, City Reach. Common Cathedral was started in 1994 as an ecumenical church that works to meet the physical, social, and emotional, spiritual needs of the unhoused in Boston. City Reach is a related overnight outreach program that gives youth and young adults the opportunity to learn firsthand about homelessness from people who've experienced it. Years ago, I was one of the adults that participated in this overnight with the senior high youth program. We began the evening there with a walking tour guided by a homeless person who shared what unhoused people do at night when it's cold, what they think, where they go, and where they avoid going. After that, we got a few hours sleep in a warm church basement with dozens of other participants. This experience involved coordinating a meal and helping distribute clothing to those in need. SHIP plans to participate in City Reach session next month, and they'll spend a night in Boston working together with City Reach staff, offering hospitality and food to those who are unhoused. And that's what the donations that Celeste was asking for earlier would be going for. Now, our congregation exists and thrives through the gifts of those who call this place their spiritual home. If you are here with us in the sanctuary, you may put a gift in the collection plate as it goes by. Otherwise, you may make a gift online or mail in a check. Please give as generously as you are willing and able to our Share the Plate offering to support City Reach Common Cathedral and the mission of UUCR. Now, if this is your first time with us, please let the plate pass you by. Your presence is gift enough.
There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator, and my pronouns are she and her. And I have lots of things to share this morning, all of which can be found in our church newsletter, so you can look there for the details. In the weeks ahead, I have 3 save the dates for you. First, Reverend Laurel will be offering an open sanctuary candlelighting drop-in on Monday, January 20th from 5:30 to 6:30. You can join her here in the sanctuary to light a candle, say a prayer, and be in community on this inauguration day. We need one another, and we need our collective prayers and love. Second, please join us and friends from the First Congregational Church of Reading for a zero-waste clothing swap following worship on Sunday, January 26th in Fellowship Hall. You can freshen your wardrobe, keep fast fashion out of the landfill at the same time. This is a free swap. You don't need to bring anything to take clothing home, so see the church newsletter for all of those details. And finally, save the date for our Starlight Soiree church auction, which will be on Saturday, March 15th. In our Congregational Life Week this week, we have no Buddhist meditation, but we have other lots of great opportunities for connection and fun. This includes a new series through the Reading Public Library here at UCR. On Tuesday, it starts a series about learning how to folk dance, and thank you to Tom Model for helping bring that here to church. Friends of Reading Public Library are helping support that. And join Reverend Laura on Tuesday evening for her conversation series, Building Resilience and Resistance During These Challenging Times. Wednesday evening, there's a chance to be together here again in the sanctuary for our monthly Vesper service and our Work of the Church meetings. Our community singing group, Rise Up and Singing, meets in Fellowship Hall on Friday evening at 7:30. Friends of all ages are welcome to join this informal, spirited evening of shared music making, and AJ Heidkamp can give you more information about that. And on Saturday, please join us for an afternoon of quiet, centering activities together to keep us connected during these cold month of January. We'll have Qigong and meditation, quiet activities and crafts. You can wear your comfiest clothes and come join us for connection and mindfulness and community from 1 to 3 on Saturday. For next Sunday, join us for our community chapel at 10 a.m. in lieu of our regular service. We'll be sharing stories of UUCR. And for today, those needing support to set up their Breeze profile can look for me in the atrium. Anyone planning on supporting religious education program for our winter-spring series is invited to the Teacher Review Day with Kimberly in Fellowship Hall. Thank you all who helped make today possible, and thank you all for being a vital part of our congregational life. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
In our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I leave you today with these words from a Franciscan benediction. May God bless you with discomfort. Discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships. Discomfort so that you will live deep within your heart. May God bless you with anger. Anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people. Anger so that you will work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with tears. Tears to shed for those who suffer pain, rejection, starvation, and war. Tears so you will reach out to comfort them and turn their pain into joy. And may God bless you with foolishness. Foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world. Foolishness so that you will do what others claim cannot be done. Go in peace.